So I'm going to begin and welcome to our it's really a Grief to Life coaching webinar. So many of you have downloaded the ebook and how to find joy and happiness after the death of a loved one. I will give you a brief introduction to myself. My name is Samuel Stewart, and I've been in this industry for now the last 24 years. Okay, so I'm going to be speaking. Hi, Miriam, back. So people do come on late. So I mean, I kind of start as I start, and then as people join in, they come on, and then they come on, they come off, and that's how it is. That's the nature of it. But just so I give you a little insight into how like I do these normally. I've been in business. I've been in this industry, I'll say, for 24 years. And when I do these sessions, definitely can do interaction. I love to speak to people. I don't like doing webinars where it's just one person talking. So if you have any questions, you want to say anything, you're certainly free to say anything or ask me a question on reference to it. So my experience was back in 2000 when my mother made her transition. And that was the first experience I had with a death, someone so close to me. And with that, I went through a lot of different emotions from, confusion. I was the baby in the family. I was very spoiled. So when she was gone, it was like I couldn't quite grasp everything that was going on. There was a lot of different emotions. There was even a bit of anger I had towards her as well, too, for kind of leaving. And allowing herself, it was kind of interesting. It was like allowing herself to get to the point to get sick and to leave me. So I went through feelings of anger and emotions like that. However, from that experience, what happened was uh, I ended up starting a business that we've been able to help people through the loss of their loved ones for the last 24 years now. We've helped actually thousands of families. We started more of a like a printing business where we print like prayer cards and programs. However, through that experience, I've dealt with families in the area of grief and helped them through different times. I've been also affected by loss as well, too, again, a couple of times as well, as we all are during the course of our life. We're faced with loss in some capacity or another. But through that business, we've been able to help thousands of families. More recently, I've become a licensed minister. And what I'm looking to do is to actually help people during the grief process and really be able to help them along that path of uh, using that traumatic experience and really allowing it to help us to grow and to develop, and allowing the Lord to really work through that experience. And as far as some negative things that we go through in life are great opportunities for transformation. So this is what I want to do and help many others as well too. So I've been doing this now for a little bit, and I come on and do webinars. I give the ebook, and I'm going to share with you a little bit more of my story with that. So my mother was my first experience with loss of a loved one. Then again, in 2017, my dad made his transition. And again, I go through a whole nother set of emotions. So as you may be aware, once you face a death or someone close to you, you deal with it differently depending on your relationship with the person. So it was a different experience I had with my father. But again, I was able to use that. And that's actually what got me down the path of becoming a licensed minister. And then I faced death again with a very close friend of mine. It's like my brother. He was a very close friend of mine. He was like my brother. But then he also, that experience taught me something else about grief, because there was another aspect which I didn't even know that I was grieving at that point. But then I actually went through a period of anxiety and went through some things that just kind of snuck up on me, and I didn't know why until later on I realized what was happening, and it was because of the loss of my friend. So I was able to determine that and work through that as well too, and all these things really worked to inspire me to where I am now, where I'm looking to help many others that are going through grief as well too. So a couple of things. Like I said, when we have these sessions, I do definitely like participation. I also will speak from the Bible and share some stories from the Bible as well too. And everything I look to do, I'm looking from the wisdom from the Bible and sharing that as well, as far as how we can like grow through these grieving experiences that we have. All right, so a couple of things that I felt as I went through grief, and one was that I had to be strong for my family. I want to just address a couple of things that I went through, and even um, how I was able to get through those things, and maybe it can help others that's watching this as well. Even but as we have this recording, we'll have it available for other people as well too. But one of the things was that I felt I had to be strong for all those that were around me, and I put on a like almost like a front to say, this wasn't bothering me as much as it was, because I had to be strong. I had to, be strong for my children, my wife as well, and my family, and just be there. However, I realized that even um, though I had to be strong, there's a good example is when, and I'm actually out of town right now, but I was just on an airplane not too long ago. And if you've been on an airplane, they tell you one of the greatest lessons I get from being on an airplane, when there's a state of any kind of like emergency situation and the oxygen mask drops, they tell you you have to put it on yourself first before you put it onto others. Because what we look to do, like if we have a child or elderly one, we might look, especially if we're caring for these people, we'll look to take care of them first. However, by us taking care of ourselves, we are better suited to take care of someone else, and we can help them better by taking care of ourselves. So how I relate this even into the area of grief as well too, when I said I had to be strong for other people, really I had to take care of myself first so that I could be strong, so I could help others. Because me going around and uh, in a sense, ignoring what I was feeling and just carrying on as though I was being strong, I wasn't addressing and handling the grief for myself, and in turn, that was hurting me, and it was hurting other people too, because I wouldn't be able to help others if I was still being affected, if I was going through like the anxiety I was going through, if I was still dealing with the anger, and even the blame I had for it as well too. So certain things I had to address for myself, and that's a great lesson for I think anyone. You have to take care of yourself first and go through, and there's different things you do for self-care. Take care of yourself first so that you can actually be able to help other people as well. Okay, so that was one of the first things I saw and I learned from grief, and just kind of put me in check to make sure I was taking care of myself first. Secondly, I'll say when I was grieving like that, I thought that grief would never end. I thought I was always going to be in that same state, and it was always going to be as painful as it was. And I'll say this, uh, I'm gonna say it two ways. I'm gonna say that grief does end in the way that we may know it, as far as the painful, the active grieving, I'll say. Yet, we are gonna be changed forever because someone that we love is no longer around or available for us. So that doesn't end. Our love for the person, just how we relate to them is going to change because they're no longer physically with us in the present. But grief does have an ending, that we don't have to go through the pain like that anymore. In the Bible, it talks about several instances where Jesus talks about he grieved, and he says that there was a man by the name of Lazarus who had died, and he had his sisters, Mary and Martha, that were around as well too. And even says that Jesus has wept as well too. However, that wasn't the end of the situation, the story. There was actually more that went on after, and there was a definite end to his grief point as well. He did something about it. The Bible also says that weeping may endure for the night, but then it says that joy comes in the morning. So there is a point that it's healthy to grieve, and I love to tell people it's okay to grieve, but then know this, that it's not going to last forever. And this is why I want to be able to help people to even grow through that grief and realize that they're not doing it by themselves. They don't have to do it alone. All right. Then that's another important aspect as well too, as far as the importance of having people around during the time of grieving, and the community aspect. And this is what we look to foster as well too, another community that you have around that, in a sense, we can say we understand what someone is going through when they lost a loved one. But I'm going to even talk about that in a second as well. But it's just that sense of community, because even in that same story where Lazarus died and then his two sisters, Mary and Martha, we saw that the people in the community, they came around to be around them and to even mourn with them. And I'll say it like this, just being around other people, and you might know someone that's grieving, you might be grieving yourself, but just being in the presence of other people does a sense of healing in itself. Even if no words are being said, even just knowing that they're there says a lot. It says that they care about you. It says that they love you. It says that they're there for you when you go through hard times. So sometimes, you know, others may not know what to say, but just to be in their presence, it really does a lot for us and helps us through those situations. So now I mentioned this statement about understand, and that, we're in a community where we may say we understand. And I'm gonna explain to you even the difference with that, because I would say no one really understands your grief like you. All right. So, and that's what I had to realize for myself as well, that even though I lost loved ones, I lost my mom, my dad, my dear friend, even other relatives as well, but no one will understand your grief like you. And it's a simple reason for that, because we're all individual, unique people, and we all think, and we handle things differently. Not only that, but the loved ones that we had, they were unique as well too. So they had a unique experience. And not only two unique people, then there was a unique relationship. So, uh, someone that you love may no longer be around, but then someone else might also know them as well too, but they had a different relationship. So that means that their grief is going to be different. It's going to be expressed differently. So no one really understands your grief. And my experience and my expertise in this area is more of a grief to life coaching approach, where I'm not attempting to get you to understand your grief, because no one understands it but you, but I'm attempting to get you to use your grief and to see your grief as an opportunity for strengthening yourself and developing what we call resilience. So it's similar to this. I don't know if you know about exercising, but when you go to exercise in your gym, and you go to gym, and you can exercise really hard, and you can hurt afterwards. The reason why you hurt afterwards is because you have torn muscles, and you have torn your muscles. But what happens after you tear the muscles? They actually grow back, and they don't grow back the same. They actually grow back stronger. So this is how we actually even like to look at grief, where yes, we go through this thing that is so devastating to us. However, it is an opportunity for us to come back and grow even stronger through these experiences that we go through in life. And grief is no exception, that we can actually see this as a point of great transformation, great, yeah, but I just say transformation in life that you can go through these experiences. And there's nothing more devastating, I could say, than losing a loved one in life. And yet it is still a great point of transformation, and we can draw great strength and power and inspiration from that to live our best lives for ourselves. Okay, so that's also even the difference I said between coaching, which is we do Christian life coaching, grief to life coaching, as opposed to therapy or counseling. And I've been to a therapist before. I understand how therapists work in counseling, and you may have been to a therapist, or someone may have been to a therapist or counselor before. And usually, how they are operating is that they're looking at the situation of what happened, and they are attempting to allow you to process it correctly. And that is perfectly fine for certain people, and that's great that you have to process it correctly. Uh, how we approach it is that we're looking to use this as a great catalyst for us for life, to now move forward in life and not be stuck. Because what happens so many times, people get stuck in life at this point of the tragedy, and they don't know how to move forward. Yet it actually is a great opportunity for us to move forward in life. And that grief is actually what can propel us to move forward in life. So that's what we like to do through the whole grief to life coaching. There's something that I was reading even recently, and I was just sharing this whole presentation. A lot of times we allow things that were in the past, which is let's say a tragedy or devastating or loss, to kind of shape our present. And then when we allow our past to shape our present, then our present will dictate what our future is going to become. So what we do today is really going to dictate what tomorrow is going to be. However, the approach that we go through is actually not allowing our present to be shaped from our past, but actually looking towards our future, seeing, what is it that we want to have in our future? What is the end result that we want to have in our future? And using our future now to shape what we do in our present. Okay. So it's a different approach as opposed to our past. Building our past and then making that be our present, which directs our future, really looking ahead and seeing, okay, well, how can I live my life after this? What can be the objective or the purpose that will inspire my present day to day? So it's more of a future-based approach to creating our present and having a better future. And this is, something that again is biblical. Jesus said often, well, he said before, he did things based off of uh, the future that was there. It said the joy that was set before him, because of the joy that was set before him, he endured the cross and he died on the cross because of the joy that was going to be ahead. So he looked ahead to actually propel him in the future. All right. So that is another thing that we actually do through our Grief to Life coaching program, more future based. Now, another thing I'm going to share in reference to uh, how we are designed. And a lot of things in our bodies will actually heal themselves. Our body has been divinely created by the Most High God, and we actually have the ability to heal ourselves within our bodies. We have the ability to heal ourselves. All right, it's not necessarily that we have to have things outside of us. Sometimes those things outside of us can help to aid the healing, but our bodies actually can heal ourselves. And if we know the right things to do versus sometimes give it a rest, then it's to feed it the right nutrition and nutrients. And that can create an environment so that the body can heal itself. And actually our organs can actually regenerate over a couple of months as well too, which is a very interesting fact. But the reason I say this is that even in grief, the body can actually heal itself. And God has designed us so wonderfully that we can get healing through, and I'm going to say it's the senses that we have, the five senses. I'm going to talk about the five senses that we have that actually can help to foster healing within our bodies. So if we think about what are the five senses that we learned about, we have our sight, we have our sense of smell, we have our hearing, we have taste, and then we also have touch. And each one of these are like neurotransmitters. They are input receptors that allows us to get information into our brains. So this actually can help during our point of grieving as well too. And these are things that we employ as we're and I want to even share some things with you that you can do to help during a point of any kind of grief. So one thing I'll say is with our eyes. So what we see and things that we see can be therapeutic for us. I'll give an example. My son is actually an artist, and he did an art show the other day, and he had some people come in and create art. And all he did was give them a template to draw, and he gave them some paper and some paint brushes and colors and kind of instructed them in a way. And people drew, and they created their own little design following the template, yet it was doing therapy for them. There actually was people there that were grieving, and they shared how, creating this piece of artwork. And she gave a beautiful testimony, a beautiful story about her son who just recently had passed just about a month ago. And he was a young son, he was like 20 years old. And how the picture she was drawing was kind of inspired from things that she remembered from him. And she just drew it. And she was tearing up and crying because as she was doing it, it was therapeutic for her. And she was now creating something beautiful she was able to take. And she said that she was just thankful for the opportunity because now she created something that she can see that reminded her of the love that she had for her son in the artwork. So that's how our eyes can help with it, from what things that we see. That's just one example. So we can also look around and looking at nature and, looking at things that we can see with our eyes. Those things are really therapy during the time of our grief. Secondly, we can go with our ears and hearing. And another thing that is fantastic and great to do during time of grieving is listening to music and the types of music we put on, whether it's classical music. It could be music that is relaxing to us. It could be music that maybe even reminds us of our loved ones. Those things are actually another source. Remember the five senses that gives therapy to us. Is actually sending information to our brain, but it's being therapy during the time of our grief. So again, it's the music that we can listen to in the things that we hear. Also, this one, it kind of goes with hearing, but also goes with the mouth. But speaking affirmations, saying affirmations, and like things like the affirmations I would say is I am peace, I am joy, I am hopeful, I am I'm loved. Because sometimes we feel alone, but all these things we can say, we can create our own affirmations. This is using our mouth, but then it's also really that what we're hearing in our ears. And when we can say these things and we can hear these things, it's going into our system, and it's actually it's bringing healing, and it's bringing therapy to us. Then what else do we say? We have our nose. So nose, as far as smells, is called the olfactory nerves, that we can smell different smells. Uh, it, Smells are very nostalgic. Sometimes you might smell something that just instantly transports you into a childhood memory. It was a could and I remember times I smell stuff and it reminded me of my mother, cooking in the kitchen or something like that. It just gives you a great feeling within yourself. So, there's actually even smells and different scents from herbs and from oils, essential oils, that actually helps to relax us. There's oils that brings even joy, and the Bible talks about that oil of joy. And there's a mixture, a blend that you can do for the right smells that actually helps to foster joy within us. So this is something else that we can do for healing and for therapy. So again, we have eyesight, what we see. We have hearing, what we hear. We have our nose as far as smells. Same with the smells. Smell and taste is actually very, they go together, really. They're very closely together. Like if we're not feeling well and we can't smell, then usually we can't taste as well too. But tasting foods and tasting things like that, that's why they have something called comfort foods, because what we taste and what we take in is something that can actually help and bring us comfort and bring us, relaxes our body. So taste is another one. And the last one we have is the sense called touch. And I'll say touch is in a couple of ways. How I'm going to use it right now is touch is to be around other people. Again, to be in the community, be around other people that you can, it's good to be online, and this is the best that we have, as we want to offer it to a lot of people and to speak to a lot of people, but then also have people in your vicinity that you can, just be around, because there's something about the energy of having people around you. Yes, being on talking on Zoom or on FaceTime, all these things are good. Telephone is good, but there's something about being in the vicinity of people that the energy can rub off. And this is what we saw in the Bible as well too, where they came around when Mary and Martha were mourning, and others as well too came around to be in the vicinity so they could touch. And there's a saying that I found so wonderful, that grief shared is grief divided. Okay, grief shared is grief divided. So when you can be around other people, yes, one person may be grieving, but now if you're around 10 other people, it actually is like it's divided amongst the 10 people. So it's so healing to be in the midst of other people as well too. And just again, that was that sense of touch. So we have the eyesight, what we see, we have the nose, what we smell, the hearing, music, the taste for we taste, and also with our mouth. I said also speaking the affirmations, which is tied to the hearing, really, but then also touch and being in the vicinity of other people. Okay, so those are things that you can consider and think about, to because God has designed us so wonderfully and given us those senses for input, and it can help us during the time of grief. So think about it for yourself. What is it that you might do to bring some therapy through those senses for yourself? Now, the approach again that we go through is more of a coaching approach, and how our coaching approach is that we do like a group coaching. However, it is very specific oriented for each individual, and we call it the 4 Ds. that we help people to go through in regards to grief. One is the first D is to determine. So we help people to determine where they are in their grief, but also really where they are in life as well too. So determine, and there's many different ways to accomplish this. We have questionnaires that you can answer as well. It's just doing some honest evaluation in your life and just helping along that process of determining. Because if we don't know where we are, we can never get to where we are going. Um, so if someone is in grief or if they're actively grieving at this point, and we know or they know that they want to come out of it, they have to first determine where they are. One good example I love to think about with this is when I go to the mall, shopping mall, and I might be looking to go to the Nordstrom store, and I look on the map, and I can see that Nordstrom store is on level 2, section L. That information is useful for me, but it's not that helpful unless I have the most important information on there where it says usually a red dot that says you are here. So until I know where I am, I cannot go to L2. So if I know I'm on the first level and I'm in the A section, then I know I have to go upstairs and I have to walk over to the second level to the L section. Without that important information of knowing where I am and determining that, it's impossible to get to where you want to go. This is how a GPS works for navigation for your car. You may say you want to drive to the Walmart, but you first have to know where you are in order to get to where you want to go to. All right. So that's the first aspect of what we do, is help people to determine where they are in the grieving process, also in life as well too. Because again, many times people just get stuck in life and they don't take the time, or they don't know how to do it. So we have a series of questions and different things like that. Secondly, the second D is going to be you to decide. Um, Now, many people don't know where they're going. All right. So they don't know, yeah, they get stuck in grief again. Like, I was at that point as well too, stuck in grief. But then to decide, where is it that I can come out? Because they think that grief lasts forever. But again, as I said before, there is an end point to grief. Yes, we still love the person. Yes, we still remember the person. It's not that we're ever going to forget them. It's not that we're going to not love them, but we don't have to stay in active grieving forever. So we help people to decide and give them, realistic, what is the end goal of where I can come to, that I can get to even through this coaching program. So we determine first, then we help them to decide where it is that they want to go to. They want to have joy, but what does joy look like for you? And so it's very individualistic. What does happiness look like for you? And it could be in family, it could be in your career, it could be in relationships and so forth. But what does that decide what it is that you want to have? We usually like to have someone to have really big aspirations. There's a saying that you aim for the stars and you may land on the moon, which is something that is good. How we have seen, and we can show you as we kind of go into the program though, when you have large aspirations, when you can decide where you want to go to, and you have large aspirations, the path to get there is actually so much clearer than just having small aspirations. And one of the challenges with us, myself included, with many people in everyday life, is that we have some smaller goals. We have some smaller areas we want to, accomplishments we want to get to. And the challenge with that is that there are many different roads that will get you to those smaller goals. But once you make a huge goal, then there's actually less roads that will take you there. So it really helps to give you great clarity and focus as we help you to decide where it is that you want to go. And one tool I'm going to tell you as well to do this, as far as deciding, is to write, helping you to write your own life story. And I'm gonna say it nice like that because a lot of times people get a little afraid of it when I say it. But another term, and I'm just gonna say it, is you write your obituary. you write your own obituary. And you write your obituary, meaning you write, what do you want to be said about you when you come to the end of your time on this earth? And it's not as scary as you think. It is such a transformative exercise. I've had all of my children do it. I've had everyone in my office do it, because it gives you that definite end goal, and you make it as grand an obituary that you want to be said about you. I want to impact 1 million people. I want to own 3 businesses, whatever it is for you, because it's very personal. But writing your own, and this is something we help you through as well too, and this is part of the deciding part. One of the things is to write the obituary, and it helps you to get that, decide where you want to go. So the first is to determine where you are. Second is to decide where you're going. And then the third part, something that I help a lot of people with, is to develop. And that's to develop a plan. So this is third D, develop. So now you have where you are, you know where you want to go to. We help you to develop a plan that is going to be something that's easy for you to follow, all right? Something that's manageable. And it's not, a lot of times people get sidetracked, or they get thrown off because they make huge steps to what, and it's not about making huge steps. It's about making small, consistent steps towards that goal that you want to get to, coming out of grief and whatever it is that you decide on your level, for yourself personally. So help you to develop a plan to get to those goals, okay? And then the fourth D after that is what we call deliver and deliverables. And it's really more along the lines of, tracking as week by week, as you go through, and you kind of tracking to deliver. And in business, we'll call it deliverables, but making sure that we're on point to reach the goal by tracking each step that we're supposed to be taking as we're moving up towards reaching that goal. So we call it the deliverables. And sometimes as we're going along the course from grief to life coaching, then we see that we might need to make some adjustments somewhere. We might need to, revise that plan a little bit, or we might need to expand it to make it even bigger, because you see, as you start making steps towards something, it's I don't want to say it's magical, but it's just like Lord at work when we start making, when we start with faith, and then we start doing our part, then we'll see that things start to happen and things start to line up in those regards. So we might need to adjust the plan and expand it, because other opportunities may open up. However, again, having that goal, that end goal, but deciding, helps to keep us so focused, and we see that there's great accomplishment and great achievement as we stay on that path. So again, the 4 Ds that we do is to help to determine, then to decide, then to deliver, and then, well, no, not deliver, then to determine, decide, then to develop the plan, and then to deliver. Get messed up with my D's. And then we get towards where we want to go to. So this is what we do through our program, and we say the Grief to Life coaching program. So again, as a quick recap, because I'm not going to keep you here all evening, we usually do about 30 to 40 minutes. And again, if you have any thing you want to say, any question or anything like that, I'm going to let you speak as well. And welcome, Diane. But just as a quick recap, this is a biblically based program. I'm a licensed minister. I've been serving families for the last 24 years, helping them through the grieving process, and helping them to not just, as I say, not to process, not necessarily process grief, and that is excellent. That's more therapy and that's more counseling, but you process the grief and kind of get to unpack it and so forth, and that is necessary for many people. And but there's a point too when we can actually use the grief, and it can become a catalyst to make us stronger. And I gave the example, like when you go to the gym and you tear a muscle, it hurts, it's painful because it's trauma to your body. However, when it comes back, it grows back even stronger. So your muscles grow and you get bigger and stronger. So the same way with grief on an emotional level, where it is a great point of, it can be a great point of transformation for many of us if we know how to use it properly, and it can help to be a catalyst for us to even have life that is. And I look at it because remember I started with my mom and my dad. Even living a life that not is just pleasing to me, but then is pleasing even to what my mom and my dad would have wanted, or our loved ones would have wanted for us. Because many times, even if we just think about that, they wouldn't have wanted for if they're not here anymore, for us to also be stuck as well too. They would have wanted for us to live and to enjoy and to experience life, and that's what many times we fail to do. We just get stuck and we stay in that holding pattern when that's not even what they would have wanted for us. So we we're going to do what even they wanted for us, and also what the Most High wants for us as well too, what God wants for us. um, and so one again, that grief doesn't have to last forever. I also go into the senses, how we can use our God's designed us so that we can have the senses and different inputs into our brain that can help us during time of grief. So we have our eyes to be able to see and creating art. We have our ears when we're listening to music or even speaking affirmations that we can brings therapy to us. And then the olfactory nerves, which is our nose, when we can smell different things and taste different things that can just transport us to healing, to therapy, and just really using those things. I call them gifts that God has given us in our bodies. They're like secret, they're like hacks in our body that we can use to really change our perspective, change our even how we are grieving, and just offer great therapy and healing towards us. So take advantage of those senses that we have, and also touch was to be in community with other people as well too. All right, and then I just shared about the coaching, grief life coaching program, which is one. It's about helping you to determine where you are through a series of questions and other things as well too. Then deciding where you want to get to, and it's very personal. So we don't give you what you should what your goals should be. It's We help you to determine that for yourself. Where do you want to be after this point? And you come up with that deciding place for yourself. We just help you even through the obituary writing. Then developing a plan and doing something that's manageable for you, and then also delivering and making sure you kind of stay on track, and asking through guided questions so you stay on track. And also if you need to make an adjustment, if you need to make some changes to it as well. And that's basically how the program is. So a lot of things we're gonna. Oh wow, we're coming on, but we're about to end us. Michelle, thank you so much for joining. We did record it. I'm out of town now, but we're gonna be on again probably next Thursday as well too. But we'll have the recording available. But again, if hopefully you got something just from this conversation that we had today, and if you have any questions, please just unmute and ask your questions. This is a Christian grief to life coaching program, and it's if you want to, I'm going to let you take a questionnaire. I'll just put the link in the chat, and that could be your first step. If you're interested in going any further, that's fine. If you're not, and you just get from this, that's perfectly fine as well too. I'm hopefully I was able to add something to you, and at least be here to let you know there are people out here that care about you and that want to help you. And just from my experience and seeing the families and working in this industry, the information I have, I want to share with people as well. But I'll put it in the chat. It's a short questionnaire. It's about 10 to 12 questions. You can answer it and just see, because some of those questions will actually spark some things in you that you can start to identify certain things that might need to change, or certain things that you can address within yourself as well too. So I'm gonna put that in the chat right now if I can get to it. And again, if you want to say anything, you certainly are welcome to say. Okay. Oh, okay. I see in the chat. Oh, okay. All right.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you for coming on. I appreciate you. Okay. All right. All right. So I'm going to, let's see. All right. So I'm still going to put it in chat. Let's see where I can put it in. to- Okay, so I'm just going to put the link in. It was a pleasure having you on, though, Marion.
Thank you. Thank you. I've been
Right.
doing my father passed away, and then 14 months later, my son unexpectedly passed away. So been in, yeah, my son
Yeah,
had special needs, but when he died, he was very, very healthy. He just didn't wake up.
yeah, yeah. Okay, all right. So
So it's been a lot.
it's been a lot. Yeah. Okay. I mean, so hopefully, I mean, if you got anything from what I was saying to
I
you as
did.
well,
Thank
yeah,
you.
you
I
can,
did.
yeah,
When you
and
talked about the senses, I realized that I did some of that very naturally just for relief.
good. So now do it intentionally. That's what I'm
Now,
saying.
especially when he first died, I couldn't be, I had to have music playing at my bedside
Uh-huh.
24/7, very soft music, and I put it in a way that I can move closer to it, or if I didn't want it, I can move away.
Excellent.
But
Yeah,
it was, and it, yeah, it was
really helpful.
knitting and like all kinds of things. So
Mhm. Yeah,
yeah,
and being creative and all those stuff, they really are helpful. Just like I said, the person that did the artwork, so again, being creative, but then it's very therapeutic. So, take advantage of those things and again, do it intentionally because, those are really going to help during this time. And, just be encouraged that it's, he wouldn't want for you to be, s-
oh, he would hate it. My
yeah,
son was joy, joy.
yeah, yeah. So yes, we still grieve for them, we still love them, and that's going to be forever. But then also, do what he would have wanted for you to do as well too. And I think you'll find great peace and solace just in doing that as well too. Okay. All
Thank you.
right, you're welcome. Thank you for
Thank you.
joining.
Have a good night. Safe
All right,
travels.
all right. Thank you. All right. All
Bye.
right. Bye bye. Diane, I put in chat, and if you, I'm not sure if you have listened. I know you came a little bit late as well too, but hopefully you got something from this as well. If you want to take that questionnaire, you can certainly take that questionnaire. It's in the chat, and it's just like 10 to 12 questions. It's for you. You don't have to do anything further than taking it. It's just some questions that will help you during this time as well. Okay, but thank you so much for coming on, and I will be on again next week. Uh, Thursday at 7. Yeah, I think I'm out of town right now. All right. Thank you, Diane, for coming on. All right. God bless.